All right, if I could have everyone's attention, I think we're about ready to get things started here today. I'm Ty Patton, our Director of Athletic Communications here at Drake University and the media coordinator for the Drake Relays. We want to thank everybody for taking time out of your busy day and busy schedule to be here and share what is a very significant announcement in the history of Drake Relays. Just to give you kind of the order of how we'll progress today, we're joined here on stage by Drake President Marty Martin, a representative from the new presenting sponsor of the Drake Relays, who President Martin will introduce here shortly, Drake Director of Athletics Brian Harden, and finally Blake Bolden, the Franklin P. Johnson Director of the Drake Relays. Following comments from all four gentlemen, if any members of the media wish to speak to them, we can do brief one-on-one conversations off to the side. If you need anything else today, please don't hesitate to flag down myself, and I will be more than happy to be of any assistance I can be. So to get things started today, I'd like to turn the microphone over to Drake President Marty Martin.
Thank you, Ty. Ed, who I'll introduce in a moment, said maybe we should have put a paper bag over his head until we got to that moment in time, but we'll get there. So thank you for being here today. Welcome to Drake University, here to the Knapp Center. We're very thrilled that you're here in our Shivers facility for another big announcement by Drake University, this one particularly Drake Athletics and specifically the Drake Relays. So a word about the Drake Relays. This will be the 111th running of the Drake Relays this year. I think I should knock on some wood when I say that, but we are very optimistic. It is a premier event in the world of track and field, and I mean the world of track and field. You know, this is not a local event. This is a worldwide event. It is a moniker of Drake University, kind of one of the jewels in our crown, and that's for, I think, a couple of different reasons. One is it's just such a great representation of community, because we all appreciate the relays themselves are that, but also everything that happens around the Drake Relays. I would argue that Drake Relays Week is the best week on any college campus in this country. You know, it begins with the beautiful Bulldog contest. By the way, where is Griff? Our beautiful Bulldog, right there he is, yes. Oh, he's sleeping. But begins with the beautiful Bulldog contest. We start to kind of do our work on Painted Street at the beginning of the week. We have the Grand Blue Mile. The pole vault exhibition, Painted Street occurs, and then of course we get into the relays, the road races, the real reason that we're celebrating that week. And it is just a phenomenal week of community in so many different ways. Our students, our faculty, our staff, our alumni, our neighbors, all of our colleagues and friends from around Central Iowa, but indeed from around the world. And we come together and we celebrate the athletic achievement of the athletes, their commitment to their sport, and as that represents our commitment to education and excellence. And that is really the second thing that I would argue about the Drake Relays, that it is a hallmark of excellence, both in the performance of the athletes, the commitment that so many of our volunteers bring to that effort to make it happen, the commitment of our athletic staff who really pull the event off, and all the others who come together to make the event what it is. So community and excellence, I think, are the real hallmarks of the Drake Relays and everything that surrounds it. And in light of that, I think it's incredibly appropriate that we have the new presenting sponsor that we have. And so let me just take a moment to kind of unveil this poster to my right so that you can see this, and maybe somebody can give me a little drum roll as I do this, okay? There you go. All right. So, the Drake Relays, presented by Xtreme, powered by Mediacom. Yeah. So a word about Mediacom, a company well known to all of us, is really committed to the state of Iowa and delivering outstanding world-class services across the entire state. That's every single community, no matter the size. A organization that has that commitment to excellence that I was just talking about a moment ago, an organization that has that commitment to community that I was just talking about a moment ago, and again, the perfect partner, therefore, for our Drake Relays. Now, I've had the pleasure in November of meeting the CEO and owner of Mediacom, Mr. Rocco Camiso in New York. Ed, who I'll introduce in just a moment, was kind enough to set that up. And I wanted to kind of meet him and talk about the possibility of this. And I met someone who just, again, embodied those values that I've just spoken to, the value of a commitment to community. You see that in the work of this organization across the entire state in donating services to libraries and schools, in sponsoring scholarships for college-bound Iowa students, in the volunteer service hours that its employees devote to communities around this entire state. And of course, you see its commitment to excellence in the delivery of the world-class services that it provides to so many of us. So again, the perfect partner for Drake University, and really channeling Mr. Camiso's commitment to excellence, commitment to community, but also commitment to sport. He is a gentleman who loves his sport. And so again, the perfect partner, the perfect collaborator in this effort. I want to thank Ed Pardini, who's the Senior Vice President for Field Operations, who works out of Des Moines, and who is the person who's really made this happen for us in the collaboration with Mediacom. I'm lucky enough to be in a breakfast club with Ed, and we started this conversation about 10 months ago. And then it was picked up between he and Brian, and they've brought it home to the conclusion that you see represented on this poster. And again, a conclusion that represents just a really powerful collaboration between two world-class organizations. So I want to thank you personally, Ed, for your role in making this happen, and invite you to the podium to make a few remarks. Ed Pardini.
I am very fortunate to represent 4,600 Mediacom employees in expressing our excitement at becoming the new partner of the Drake Relays and the presenting sponsor through our Xtreme products and services. Mediacom customers, both residential and business, know that the Xtreme products and services that our company provide the fastest telecommunications services. It knows that we've built a network that's built for the distance. And it knows that our 4,600 employees and our 1,700 employees here in the state of Iowa will jump through the highest hoops to provide the best customer experience for our communities. It's no secret then, and no wonder, that we would want to partner with the Drake Relays, the premier track and field athletic event in the world, and certainly in this country. So thank you for that opportunity. Des Moines and Central Iowa are our company's largest market. We are committed to our communities that we provide service to, and I should let the Drake community know that both President Martin, Brian Hardin, and Blake Bolden are some tough negotiators. I thought it was a track event. It turned out to be a boxing match. They won. So, thank you for the opportunity to join, and I'm going to turn it over to Brian. We look forward to a long, long partnership.
Thanks, and we'll try to keep our sparring to a minimum now. It was fun to go a few rounds with you, though. This is a great time to be a Bulldog, and a great time to be affiliated with this university and with the Drake Relays. I want to thank everyone for being here today. I love seeing members of our track and field team here today and supporting this great announcement with the Drake Relays. I love seeing so many of our officials here, people that with a very personal connection to the Drake Relays being here. We got staff members, past and present, and really, you look at the success that the Drake Relays has had for 111 years. It's because of those people that are in this room here today and those who existed for many, many years before us. And you helped build what is America's athletic classic. The fans that showed up, the staff members, the volunteers, the officials. That goes into that fantastic experience that all athletes that participate in the Drake Relays have experienced for well over 100 years inside Drake Stadium. This is an exciting announcement for me personally and professionally. Personally, having grown up here and competing in the Drake Relays, I know what the Drake Relays means to so many Iowa high school athletes, and to the college and to the university division, and to the elite and Olympic athletes. I was never an elite Olympic athlete, but I've heard them talk about how much they love coming here and seeing a full stadium on Friday and Saturday, and what it means. This partnership with Mediacom allows us to reach new heights, and it allows us to continue the trajectory that the Drake Relays has been on for a very long time. And so thank you, Ed. Thank you to Mediacom. We are proud to be presented by Xtreme and powered by Mediacom for many years to come. From a professional standpoint, this is fantastic because we continue at Drake University, and specifically with Drake Athletics, we continue striving to reaffirm ourselves as Des Moines' hometown team. And what better way than to partner with the largest cable and internet company here in the state of Iowa, what they do for so many in all over the state. This is a great company that employs many people in this area, so to find a way to reinvest into this local community is just fantastic by Mediacom, and we are happy and excited about what the future holds for the two of us together. Just even some of the behind-the-scenes conversation about what they want to do to try to integrate their brand into ours in terms of what it means for different events is really exciting. What will some of the shoulder programming be? How will they be able to kind of push the Drake Relays into markets all around the state? The Mediacom is the 5th largest cable company in the country, and so it really shows the power that the Drake Relays has, not just in central Iowa, not just the state of Iowa, not just the Midwest, but really across the country and around the world. And it comes down to those items that Marty touched on earlier, community and excellence, and you'll find no better example of that than the Drake Relays. I touched on at the very beginning just how happy I am to see just such a nice full room here today, and we have people who have worked with the Drake Relays. I got the pleasure to introduce our next speaker here, Blake Bolden, who is our current director of the Drake Relays. And we owe Blake a ton of credit for being able to get us across the finish line here. And what he's done in his brief time as director of the Drake Relays is just fantastic, from what the quality and the level of elite professional athletes that he's brought in, the university and college level teams that continue to come back to the relays, and those that he has been able to get them to return to the Drake Relays, and what he does to continue to expand the opportunities for all high school athletes here in the state of Iowa. Well, whether it's through the new partnership with the wheelchair races that we've added, whether it's through the connection with our local Special Olympics, or whether it's through adding races for both boys and girls high school in the state of Iowa, that this truly continues to be a new era of the Drake Relays, and so grateful for that, for his leadership there. The one area that I know he's going to touch on here today that he might undersell his what he did behind the scenes to get it done is this level of the commitment that, because of Mediacom's investment, allows us to become a silver level status member. And Blake will be able to go into more description into what that is. But in the world of track and field, some things have changed in the past year or so. And Blake had the foresight, understood what that could mean for meets like the Drake Relays, how that could separate ourselves from other world-class meets in our country and around the world. And for us to become the very first United States track and field meet to be awarded a silver level status is truly remarkable. We are the first one in the United States, the only one in continental U.S., and there's only 10 in the world that were initially given this status. That shows what the impact of the Drake Relays around the world is. And so, Blake, thank you to you and your team for what you did to help us get to that point. Please help me welcome to the stage Blake Bolden, our director of the Drake Relays.
Thanks, Brian. I thought maybe we'd agreed to only say nice things about Ed, so you caught me by surprise there. But, it's truly a very exciting day, and it's been today, in this moment here with these three gentlemen on stage, is a culmination of more than a year of work. So it is worth revisiting that very, very briefly. Last year, on March 10th of 2019, World Athletics announced wholesale changes to the Olympic qualifying procedure, and those policies and the Olympic qualifying standards, the time standards and mark standards in on-field events. Well, when that announcement hit, the world spent days where that was the international news story in our sport. It was about, how does this impact athletes? How does this impact coaches? How does this impact events? And how will it impact the Olympics? Well, at the Drake Relays, whether it's our officials, our staff that Brian referenced, or our Relays committee, we did exactly what Iowans always do. We went to work. So we started then, first executing the 2019 Drake Relays, then partnering with our friends at Catch Des Moines to host the 2019 USATF Outdoor Championships. We went to work to restructure our staff and our organization internally. We went to work to rethink and re-examine all of our events and their place in the sport and our community. So we went to work. We went to work with our partners at Wellmark Blue Cross Blue Shield to ensure that the USATF 1 Mile Championships will return to Des Moines for the next 4 years. We went to work to scour the community and scour the world for the right corporate partner to help us take today, to take this next step with us. And we were very fortunate, certainly, as Marty laid out very clearly, the process by which Mediacom was identified and their willingness to step forward to support our community and the sport of track and field in a transformational way. So today we stand here very proud of the work we've done, but we also stand here very excited about the near and long-term future. We stand as the first silver level event on the inaugural Continental World Tour. The World Athletics Continental Tour. And what's more than that, we are the only meet in the world that has that standard that also hosts university teams. That's an incredible opportunity for us here in Des Moines and at Drake University. So what I do think, as our staff passed around an FAQ, I do think it is important to very briefly just talk through what this really means, because the World Athletics announced this Continental World Tour late last month, and with that Continental Tour, they've also emphasized that this is the primary way for athletes from every country in the world to build points toward their world ranking. And the big changes that took place on March 10th of last year, world ranking is the most important for most of the athletes competing at the Olympics in 2020 and beyond. The world ranking is the most important characteristic or qualifying emphasis. So just to clarify, whether you're a professional athlete in the U.S., an aspiring Olympic athlete that competes at a university, the Drake Relays will be the best opportunity for you to begin your qualification for the 2020 Olympics and every major world championships beyond. So I do want to invite you all to stay. We've got some light refreshments. Take a moment to introduce yourself to our wonderful Drake track and field student athletes. We're very thankful that they took time out of their schedules to be here today. Very, very important that they're here and a part of this announcement, as it is all of our community partners that rearrange their schedules on very short notice. So we want to thank all of you for being here, and I encourage you to grab a snack, grab a drink, and we're going to be around to celebrate for a little bit. So feel free to come ask your questions of any one of the four of us, but if they're track related, probably me. So thanks, guys. Can we get a group photo over here in front of the...
There you go. You got it.
Make sure we got this shot.
Yeah, if you would go on that.
Okay, sure.
Wonderful.
You got it.
There we go. All right.
Get in there. Yep. Come up there. There you go. That's great.
All right, good.
Okay, thank you.
All right, good job.
Thanks.
Good job. We're done. Yeah. They might